Jim, Massachusetts, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Jim. I've been a pretty avid listener of right-wing radio ever since Mitt Romney ran against Ted Kennedy back when I called myself a Republican, and I'm still fascinated, even though I'm no longer one. But I finally figured it out. I finally figured out how somebody like you can say we're right and they're wrong, and it has nothing to do with the credit of your intelligence, although you're an intelligent person. It's simply that you and the ultra-Republicans, or ultra-conservative, I should say, essentially stand for nothing in the sense that you're responsible for nothing. People like President Obama or Ben Bernanke actually feel a certain responsibility to improve the statistics, jobs, and income distribution of the country, and yet people like you, and by extension Republicans in Congress, at least Tea Partiers, feel no such responsibility. They use arguments such as, well, the market will run everything, knowing full well nobody in their right mind would let the market run amok. And
well, hold on. Okay, let's back up here. First of all, the president and Ben Bernanke are taking responsibility for things that they're not legitimately responsible for. If you read Article 2 of the United States Constitution, you tell me where the president is responsible for job creation.
You read, not the Communist Manifesto, the wrong book, Das Kapital, okay? This was established 160 years ago. Unfettered capitalism will destroy itself and everyone in it.
Okay, well then you can feel free to call for an amendment to the United States Constitution to give the president, Congress more powers, but they don't have these powers. They don't have these powers.
Powers to regulate the banking industry, for instance.
Okay, because they have the power to do something. Because they have the power to do something doesn't mean they're using that power wisely. It doesn't mean their motivation behind the use of that power is right, fair, and just in a country that traditionally believes in private property.
It might not in any one instance. I'm not arguing that. But your fundamental premise is that all instances of intervention in the market are either unconstitutional or wrong-headed. And I'm saying, well, that's easy for you to say, because you'll never have to worry about living in a country that would ever do that to its citizens. Okay?
What do you mean do that to its citizens? So now, what is the problem with the credit card industry that requires the president and Ben Bernanke to step in? What is the problem with the credit card industry?
I'll tell you. The Visa and MasterCard have a duopoly or a monopoly. I don't even know if they're one company or two, and they charge whatever they want.
So there's no such thing as American Express?
No.
Really? There's no such thing as American Express? There's only one credit card company?
They are a pittance compared to Visa and MasterCard. They've tried to enter the market. Visa and MasterCard buys out its bank, pays off its bank. And
sir, I see American Express commercials every night on every television program. There are a multitude of different credit cards and credit products. But even still, you're still not entitled to a credit card industry of your choosing.
I'm not suggesting. I'm talking about the merchant debit card fee. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about the swipe fee legislation that went through yesterday, or was denied.
Exactly.
Yesterday. Okay, yeah.
So they're, quote-unquote, charging whatever they want. Okay, well, then you can choose to not do business with them. It's called charging what the market will bear. You're not entitled to a price that fits your budget.
No matter what, we're not talking about the people who are using the credit cards. We're talking about the merchants who are forced to accept them because
they're not forced to accept them
cash anymore. Because you don't. This is again. You don't have to live in the real world, evidently.
No, I do live in the real world, sir. I live in the real world of free will and free choice.
If you don't accept a debit card or a credit card, you're out of business. So what can one merchant do against behemoths and
so you want? Is the federal government a behemoth?
I'm sorry?
Is the federal government it's your chosen behemoth. It's not the behemoth you want to slay. It's not the mastodon that you want to bring down. You just want a bigger mastodon.
As you said, corporations don't owe anybody anything except their shareholders. The government is at least the one that's at least nominally responsible to the people. So why would?
But sir, whenever government tries to change the business model of the politically incorrect business of the day, all that business does is pass on the pain to the consumers in some other way. or it goes out of business and nobody benefits. The idea is for people to get fed up with the credit card companies, be they consumers or small business owners, and allow, when people got sick and tired, sick and tired of their local rock radio station playing 7-minute commercial breaks and having to wait for 80s metal weekends, Sirius XM came on the scene.
I will give you an example, a corollary. Were you for the Iraq War? Real quickly, were you for the Iraq War?
I was.
Yes
no, you're not. You're not putting. You're not, Jim. You're not. You don't put me in a box, Jim. You don't put me in a box. You don't put me in a box on this program.
So I'll tell you why. Because then why didn't the Iraqi people rise up and depose Saddam Hussein? Right? If that's all it takes is an.
Because the government had all the guns. You're talking about literal bloodshed, sir. Jim. You don't understand the market. That's your problem. No, you don't understand the market. If people said, if people like you said, well, gee, records are too big, they're inconvenient, the government should shrink them. The government should. Sir, the market does change the business model when enough people get sick and tired of dealing with whatever business it is they don't like.
Tell that to Hosni Mubarak and Saddam Hussein.
Okay, okay. So now you're talking bloody revolution versus credit card fees.
Because you're suggesting the same kind of.
I got to let you go. You have no idea what you're talking about. You think you're smart because your car has a Massachusetts license plate on it, and you literally have no idea what you're talking about. You're talking about blood and riots in the streets and credit card fees. Okay. That's really great. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. And by the way, in your dynamic, it was the government that was killing people. So when the government kills people, who do you go after to stop the government? 1-866-95-PATRIOT.